To God be the glory. Everything that I'm going to say in this segment on YouTube, I'm very careful to give God the glory. I want you to know that. To God be the glory. Jesus said it's very important that not only we bear fruit, but that our fruit should remain. That's found over in John. And Jesus also was the one who said in Matthew 11 that wisdom is justified by her children. In other words, what comes out of the situation justifies the decisions that were made at the start of it. When we were going to leave Ireland many years ago and come to America, some people were shocked and amazed. We had a wonderful church family, and people were shocked, and we were shocked too, and we missed each other. But recently, my daughter LaDonna and her husband Sean went back to Ireland. LaDonna hadn't been there for many years. In fact, they were going back to celebrate their 20th wedding anniversary. And they met up with a number of people from way back there, what we call the Tabernacle days. And LaDonna told me it was absolutely amazing, even though so many years have passed, how many people were talking about when they got saved and how they got saved through the tabernacle ministry. In fact, I'd like to read you a list of some of the folk that LaDonna met with and Sean, her husband. I'll give you just their first names. Jim and Joan, Wally and Evelyn and their son Jason, Paul, Alan and Debbie, Sandra, Marcy, Jonathan Ross, Don Ross, Drew and Carol Backett. I give their last name anyway, it's all right. And Linda. That was just some. They gathered for fellowship and for fun, reminiscing, talking about the old days and so forth and so on, and all rejoicing in the Lord. Again, I say, to God be the glory. But it is wonderful to see that the fruit has remained. The fruit has remained. Let me just take a couple of our young people from back then. Let's just take John and Christine. What happened to them? Well, the fruit has remained because they have built a magnificent 1,200-seat sanctuary in Brampton, just outside Toronto in Canada. In fact, they've been urging me to come up, and I would love to come up there, to go up there and see that facility. How proud I am of them. And then think of another two, pastors Willie and Evelyn Dick. They come out of our ministry too. We've known them over 40 years. What are they doing? They're pastoring in Letterkenny in Southern Ireland. My goodness. And then what else? Well, I think of another young couple, David and Frances. And what happened to them? They're pastoring too. They're pastoring in a place called Bangor, County Down, also in Northern Ireland. And then what? Anything more? Yeah, there's more and more and more. I'll give you one more. What about David and Sally? I remember Sally coming to me, it's got to be 30, 40 years ago, more maybe, and saying to pray for her husband. I don't remember if I even knew him at that point, but we started to pray. And one of these days he came into the service, he got saved. And after a while, I asked him to be one of our associate pastors over there. He was that. And then we opened up a new facility in Moira, which is in County Down, which, by the way, is close to the infamous H-Block prison where the IRA prisoners were kept, very close to it, next door to it. And they have been pastors there for all these years and do wonderful work. How we love David and Sally, with a wonderful outreach to the Ukraine. And on and on and on I could go. I remember two well-known people at that time, T.L. Osborne, the famous missionary evangelist, and Norval Hayes, another well-known speaker. And I remember both of them saying to me something very similar, and it was this. One said, Leslie, I can see you with one foot firmly planted in Europe and the other foot firmly planted in America, and God is going to sustain the works and is going to give you many souls on both sides of the Atlantic. I can tell you this. I am just thrilled what God has done. The fruit has remained, and wisdom is justified of her children. There were people who thought, no doubt, some of them out of sorrow that we had left, that we had missed it in coming to America, leaving a thriving work, going to a foreign country. Even though America is a great country, it was a foreign country to us, with a few $100, your wife and 3 children to start all over again. We hadn't missed it at all. And now the work is being blessed right here in America. It's being blessed through these pastors, and there are others. And in fact, in a recent telecast, you will find I talk about another one who was a gang member, got saved, and to this day is a Bible teacher. To this day, I mean, what are we talking about? 60 years later, going on with God. No, I do not want anybody to feel that this is somebody boasting. Paul said, where is boasting then? It is excluded. I am simply saying, to God be the glory, that the fruit has remained and wisdom has been justified by her children. God bless you. See you next time.